Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you learned something out of this video, if you like it, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. It will help me so much to push videos like this with the YouTube algorithm. Now going into the track guide itself, turn 1 can be super difficult. What I'm doing, the first thing, is around this exit road on the right side, I'm planning to turn and then brake into this corner. Super important to not brake in a straight line, as this car has more turning force or more downforce the more speed that you have, so you don't want to cut yourself short. You want to turn into the corner slightly past the exit road on the right, and then when approaching it, applying the brakes. I'm aiming at the yellow curbs because I want to be very close to those curbs. So around here when I'm braking, notice that the tire is almost kissing the left yellow curbs. It's also important between these corners, between turn 1 and turn 2, to maximize the time that we spend during straight line braking, meaning I will brake a bit softer right now because I'm not braking straight. It's 24%, and right now whenever I'm going for the second corner, I'm reapplying the brake. So here 43, and I'm very close to the yellow curve. So the main takeaway is that for the first corner, you're gonna brake a bit you won't brake that hard, you will brake a bit softer, but for the second one, you will progressively increase the braking force. I'm using third gear. If you find yourself that you miss your braking point, then second gear can save you. But again, in terms of the line, super important to be close to the yellow sausage curves and in between the corners to go almost straight. If you will go like a snake, forcing too much the steering wheel, you will go past the grip limit on the front tires. Very easy to do that. So imagine that you have a fixed amount of grip that you can use it to either turn, brake, or accelerate. In this case, it's turning and braking. If you will turn just a slightly bit more, you will use more grip than you need, and therefore you will have less grip available for braking. So in order to maximize the speed that you can carry into those corners, you have to take into account to do it with the least amount of steering angle possible. And one quick fix for this is to relax your hands on the steering wheel, not grip it so hard, because usually that's when you try to tend to steer more or to brake more. So a relaxed approach can help very well. In terms of the exit here, I'm going all the way to the white line on the left side, but this is not the faster way. I'm actually losing 1/10 here compared with my optimal lap because I'm going so far to the left side. You can get away with the car being more in the center left than being all the way left. So keep that in mind, that you don't need to over prepare that much the next corner. The thing is, the moment that I'm arriving here, I'm already putting 0-100% throttle. Notice that I'm not modulating a lot while going upwards. I'm just squeezing the throttle, but very sharply. And in terms of apex point, I'm looking at the yellow sausage curve on the right side here. I want to be very close to it without touching it. It's going to be important because this is going to allow us all the track here on the exit. And you will find yourself, if you take a more shallow approach, that you will use even very closely to the grass, which is going to be fine. You will carry a lot more speed. Now for the next corner, braking point for me is at this number 5 and this crane around here. I will brake slightly past it at this point, and it's super important here to avoid the inside curve. The most important thing. So while trail braking into the corner in fourth gear, notice that I'm not braking very hard, but I'm braking for a longer period of time, meaning I'm trail braking a bit longer just because I want to avoid hitting this curb right here. If you're gonna hit it early, you will have a lot of trouble because the car will be a bit unbalanced. The right tire will be at a different elevation than the left tire, but also whenever you go on and off curb, you will feel the need to drop the throttle, or you will feel the need to slow the car down more, which is not going to be ideal. So we're avoiding this, like this is fire, this is lava around here, we don't want to touch it. We can barely touch it on the exit, that's going to be fine, but on entry, this is like forbidden, otherwise too much time. Instead, we're apexing around the white line, and notice that in between the white line and the curb, there's a bit of space, a bit of concrete. You can use it, so this is what I'm doing right now. Now there's one more thing worth noting in this corner, and that's this camber around here. So if you notice that the road goes like this, it has a bit of camber which is on the inside part. So on the right side, the track is a bit more elevated, and on the inside, it's a bit lower in terms of elevation. There's a lot of grip here in the lower elevation, so you really want on entry to stay as much as you can on this camber like this. Follow the white line and apex late, and whenever you're gonna put the power down, you will see that you will have a such better exit rather than whenever you hit that curb. You can use all this track like this, and you can already see that I'm gaining some time just because I never touched that curb on the inside. Now for the next two corners, high-speed corners, using all the track, you can even put your right tire very close to this orange parts that make you get an off track if you're gonna hit them, so don't hit them. And while going here, you're gonna go flat into this section, so this is 100% throttle, 100% throttle. Now whenever the car it's on this straight line part, I'm barely touching the brakes. I'm braking with 8% holding, so I just want the car to point towards the next apex. This is like a double apex corner, first one, and this is the second one. Now we're touching it very closely to the red, so you're 100% throttle. And for the last corner, you can have the car just a bit more on the right side, that's gonna be fine. So if you want to push it to the absolute limit, I would say that you have to keep the car a bit more on the right side. You will do it by braking a bit softer or braking a bit shorter. That's also an option there. But generally, you will keep it in the center of the track. It's gonna be fine like what I'm doing here. You will probably lose like 0.05 compared to using more of the track. But whenever you're gonna use more of the track, you will have more speed. The chance of you understeering into the corner is gonna be big, so it's a high risk, low reward. So I would highly encourage you for the race stream, stay more in the center of the track. It's gonna be a lot more consistent. Now for this next two corners, this is similar like turn one. You want to keep very tight around here, and whenever I'm going past this curve, like right now I'm on it, I'm slightly applying the brakes, but I want to arrive at pressure after. So you don't want to brake hard while you mount that left curb, because you will have a bit less grip, you will be a bit less efficient under braking. So instead you want to go past it and then arrive at peak pressure, keeping very close here, because we'll do more like a V-shaped line into this corner. So even though I'm tight here, the car will go more towards the center, and then whenever I'm picking back the throttle again, I'm aiming to apex around this texture near the grass. So if you will go slower to see the track better, you will notice that here, this is not grass on the right side. There's a bit of texture with a green texture. It's not concrete, but it's not grass. So this is my point in which I want to cut it with the right tire. You have to be early on throttle here, earlier than you think, because there's a lot of grip here on the inside, and you will find yourself that you're not using all the track if you're not early on power. So start with this in mind, with the exit. I want to be all the way on the left side near the grass with the exit, and then you will push your throttle application more and more. Keep in mind that I'm pushing your throttle application, but not necessarily the turning point. You'll need a bit of a later apex, otherwise you for sure will go wide. Now the next corner, this is again very similar with turn one and with what we had previously. So this track has this style of chicanes that it's really unique. You have to go flat here and almost flat here, very close to the orange bubbles from here. 33% throttle application at this point, so I'm dropping the throttle here just to make the front tires point. Whenever you will drop the throttle, of course the speed will decrease a bit, but then you will shift a bit of weight to the front tires and therefore you will have a bit more grip to turn in. That's the idea. Now immediately putting back the throttle just to apply a bit of brakes, a bit too early on the brakes here. You can brake a bit later, but notice where I'm braking right now, very close to the curb. Rail braking with 2 percentages and again putting the power 0-100 while using all this curb. This is important here. You really want to mount this curb but without touching the red sausage curb on the full outside, and then you will use all the track like this and everything is gonna be fine. Now going into the next chicane, braking point is this banner right here, the blue one. I'm braking at it and I don't want to brake very hard. I'm downshifting to fourth and I'm trying to stay as close as I can to this red sausage curb. This is super important. And immediately putting the power down, bringing the car all the way to the right side. So right now when I'm almost all the way to the right side, I'm turning into this corner, but I'm doing it too early. This was a big mistake. I could have gained 2 tenths in the corner if I did not do this mistake. So this lap could have been quite a good lap for the fixed setup, but with this mistake it's a bit ruined. But what you have to take into account in this corner, it's exactly like the first corner of the chicane. You don't want to hit it early, so notice this curve right here. I'm hitting it in the middle, around here, and putting the throttle back. The same here, after you reposition, hit it in the middle. Notice that this is not the middle of the corner, it's more like the entry, like the first part of it. So I should have hit it initially around this part where my mouse pointer is, but because I get it this early, I'm hitting the red sausage curb and I have to drop the throttle, I have to modulate, and I'm losing a lot of time. So avoid it. This is gonna be very easy to do it if you just turn a bit later into the corner, later than you think. Now for the next corner here, I really pushed it hard because I wanted to make up for the time lost. It was quite on the limit. I'm doing one lift here. Whenever I'm approaching a corner, I'm doing the lift. I'm not lifting to 0, I'm lifting like 30%. I'm applying 1% brake to make sure that the car is stable. And then I'm going immediately back to 100. Small lift here to make sure I don't get the off track. Very easy to get the off track. You don't have to touch the sand. You just have to be with the tires on the green, but on the last part of the green, and it's going to be instantly on off track. Luckily enough, this was not, but this was quite the limit. And for the last corner, you have to use this pit entry line as a reference for braking. I'm braking slightly before the pit entry line. I'm going straight so that I can use this green tarmac. And then when turning into the corner, in third gear, you really want to turn late. It's exactly like the corner that we spoke previously in the chicane. Try to apex almost in the middle of the corner, so middle of the curb, putting the power down nice and early and avoiding the off track. Quite messy on the last corner. I think there's one more dent in the corner, but in short, that's the track guide. I hope you find it useful. I hope you have a nice week ahead. If you want to accelerate the progress and if you want to take it to the next level, if you're enjoying the track guide and if you find my style working for you, then I'm sure you will find also the sim racing course that I developed. I think you will find it quite nice for you. I think you will get a lot of results. I have very good feedback so far, so if you're interested, check it. It's in the video description. But until next time, this was my track guide. I'm looking forward to see you. Bye bye.